Hey, y'all. It's Open World Chat. Welcome back. Glad to have you back in our world again, where we are going to have a discussion kind of like the one we had last time, but a little different. But first, I am your host, John Odom, and I'm here with Mark Guard. Mark Guard, say hi.
Hi, I'm the other host, Mark Card.
Yeah, we
Gotta
got
be
to
careful
get
not
you
to slip.
leading in with these
Yeah,
sometimes.
I know. I that's going to take me practicing off air a few times to get right because I'm a perfectionist and I hate screwing things up.
Oh, perfection is not attainable. Once you accept that in your life, anything goes. Well,
Now you
so
tell me.
yeah, we're going to talk about movies from directors that you've heard of, maybe, probably big directors who have movies that you haven't heard of that are awesome, awesome
Yeah,
movies.
yeah.
Um,
We
and
we spend way too much time, but way too much, way too large a portion of our time watching movies, and today we're really going to show that.
yes, yes. So yeah, I'm going to start this time. I think
Please
last time.
do.
Ooh, okay, but which one do I start with? Oh my God, there are so many to choose from. I have this huge list. I thought about this and okay. I'm going for Peter Jackson. Here we go.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Peter Jackson, director of the legendary Lord of the Rings movies, done a couple other cool ones here and there, but his very first movie in New Zealand. Okay.
And they're both islands, you know.
Right. Okay. Not New Jersey. Was a movie called Bad Taste.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
You know Bad Taste?
I
Oh,
do.
oh man, what a movie. Cheap movie. There was some story about what he had to do to raise money for it. But it's this small town where the population disappears and the Investigation and Defense Service sends their agents Derek, Frank, Ozzy, and Barry, and obviously I have notes because I won't remember this otherwise. And they find the town overrun by man-eating space aliens disguised as humans. Geez, I hope that's my language. I hope I didn't just plagiarize something. But anyways,
I doubt
yes,
it.
and it is so much fun and it's so disgusting. It's Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a full-on knockoff of that sort of old, really gross early 80s movies. It is one, but it's one that's so light. I mean, you got the one character who's got some of his skull that keeps coming off like a hinge and he keeps losing. He's always trying to push his brain back in and he keeps losing bits of it on the ground and jams it in there and he gets, crazier and crazier and oh my God, the last scene with him, I just no, just bad taste. It is an absolute masterpiece of bad taste. Go
Oh
see
yeah,
it.
it's a John Waters level bad taste movie.
Oh my God. It's the chainsaw scene at the end. It's so good. All right, what do you got for me here, Mark? I'm sure you've got some good ones in there, and I bet we have no movies that are the same this time around. So, what you got for number one?
The first one I'm going to mention is the director of a movie we've all talked about already. The movie is Colossal,
Hmm.
the kaiju alcoholism movie by a director called Nacho Vigalondo. But that's not the movie I want to talk about. I want to talk about a movie I saw about, I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. I don't remember when it was from, but it's a movie called Time Crimes.
Time Crimes. No, I have not heard of
It's a
this.
Spanish movie. It's
Hmm.
a Spanish science fiction movie, and it starts the opening scene, a very provocative opening scene, is an old guy sees a beautiful woman taking her clothes off in the woods near his house. And then a guy with a bandaged face attacks her. And in a bit like a situation like the movie Memento, the Christopher Nolan movie Memento,
Hmm. Yep.
you backtrack several scenes to find out that's a time traveler. And
Right.
so the movie kind of works both forward and in reverse at the same time, the whole time. It's a really compelling, really interesting time travel movie that's a very different spin on time travel movies.
Mhm.
and you see the evolution of a character backwards in time, but by going forward in time. And it's a really great movie. It's only available in English, I mean in Spanish with English subtitles. Uh, it is very strange, and you will have to watch it two or three times before you get the movie.
Oh, I like
Before you
movies
really
like that.
understand what's going on, you will have to see it two or three times. And you see, the funny thing about this is that I've found that there are a lot of movies like this, and it's not necessarily in the thriller or science fiction or horror or even spy movie genre.
Mhm.
An example of this for me is, and it's kind of timely because I just saw Minecraft last night,
Oh, you
and
did?
the director's the same of the movie that I'm going to talk about.
Mm.
Uh, Jared Hess and Napoleon Dynamite. I had to watch two or three times to see why it was so funny. I mean, I understood that it was funny the first time I saw it, and I laughed a little bit. But the more I saw that movie, the smarter I got about that movie. And this movie, Time Crimes, is like that too, but it's very compelling. It'll hold your attention. I don't think it's a terribly long movie, but man, is it good. It is one of the better twists on time travel movies I've ever seen. Um, and I'm looking it up now to see when it came out. It came out in 2007, so it's 18 years old now. Um, and so and what you find out is that everything happens by accident in that movie. And it's just a really compelling, really interesting kind of take on the time travel genre, and you will have to watch it a couple times before you get it.
Oh, that's a challenge. I like movies that I like that
Yeah, I
particular
really like this
challenge.
movie. He's done some other stuff, but the movie you're most likely to know him from is Colossal. And if you haven't seen Colossal by yet, I'm talking to our audience here, find a way to stream Colossal
Yeah, that
because
is
it
such a
is
great
a
movie.
great movie.
Yeah.
And this is even better. This is way better than Colossal.
Well, I'm going to throw a director's name at you, and you're going to think hidden gems. Are you kidding? There's a hidden gem. Of course, unless you already know this movie and you're into movies, so there's a very good chance that you do. But I'm going to cite Roger Corman, the legendary Roger Corman, who's,
I have a buddy who worked in Roger Corman's studio.
no kidding.
Yeah,
Huh.
and then he went from Roger Corman to George Lucas.
Well, that's an interesting, that must have been make for a fun professional memoir there. That's pretty
Oh,
cool.
because of this guy, I've actually been to Corman Studios and Skywalker Ranch.
Oh, wow. Good friend to have. Jeez. Well,
Yeah.
well, Corman went for a real movie once, and it had virtually no budget. It was called The Intruder, and it was written by I can't remember the name of the writer, but it was adapted from a novel, and it's about this racist guy who goes from town to town. He arrives in this southern town, and what he wants to do is he incites white townspeople to violence. It's all racism, and it's all against desegregation. And he just goes from town and just gets people who weren't necessarily worked up, and it's awful what he's doing. Um, but it stars William Shatner in one of his best roles, and it was an anti-racist movie, obviously. And the story goes that they had to make this movie on the down low, and Shatner would get out there and pretend he was being serious, and they'd get real pictures of townspeople going, yeah, 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 and then they'd get out of town. They had to get out of town before people realized what was going on, and that they weren't being raised up on the platform. They were being put down in the darkest ways. But it's a great movie. It's
Wow, I've not
really
heard of
good.
this movie.
No, check it out. And I may be misrepresenting the story a little bit because it has been so long since I've seen it. and I would love to see it again. So I may be a little off on the details I just gave you. Uh, yeah, I really need to see it again. I don't think I've seen it since I was in my early 20s, but oh my God, it was good. It really impressed me. And check it out.
Well, it's evidently based on a book from 1959 too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Wow, I'll definitely have to see that. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Um, my next one, we're going to talk about a movie from a very big director
Hmm.
that I don't think a lot of people saw. I would not be surprised if you did, but we're going to talk about Martin Scorsese's After Hours. Do
I
you know that
don't
movie?
I don't believe I do, actually. You got me
Well,
on this one. What have you
I saw this movie in a very strange place. I saw it in Helsinki, Finland in 1985. And we wanted to go see a movie when I was traveling around Europe because in Helsinki, you will find a movie that has three different sets of subtitles on the film. So this is basically the story of it's one of the actors, Mark Lynn Baker from American Werewolf in London, and he finds himself in New York. Supposed to be at one place, and his cabbie kicks him out, and he wanders New York for a 24-hour period or for a 12-hour period, and meets all the strange characters you could possibly imagine. And the whole movie, you are as lost as he is as to what's happening now, what just happened, and what's happening next. And there are a lot of great people in this movie. Uh, and it's basically just an homage to how weird New York was in the 80s.
Mhm.
Rosanna Arquette is in it. Uh, Griffin Dunn, not Mark Lynn Baker. Griffin Dunn, the other guy from uh, An American Werewolf in London. It's Griffin Dunn. He's in it. Terry Garr is in it. Um, Linda Fiorentino, Catherine O'Hara, Tommy Chong.
Wow.
So
He
yeah,
always
it's
gets interesting combinations of actors in his movies. There's no question of that.
yeah, and he's a bit like Woody Allen in this. He cast people in his movies that you go, okay, she is in a Martin Scorsese movie, like Cameron Diaz in Gangs of New York.
Right. Yeah.
Who the hell was going to put Cameron Diaz in that role, given all the other things that she's played?
Right, right. And she turned out to be a
But
great pick.
oh yeah, she was really good, and that's what I mean. Woody Allen was very famous for this. He put Mariel Hemingway in a kind of a dramatic comedy movie, and she was never really taken seriously by an actress, and she killed it in that movie.
Hmm.
But yeah, so this is a Scorsese movie that most people don't know, and it is terrific. It has got Bronson Pinchot in it, bulky, uh, and it's just a really terrific um, movie. It's often called the yuppie nightmare cycle. What happens to Griffin Dunn in this movie?
Well, I'll have to check it out. No, you got me on that one too. Um,
Yep, it's really interesting.
Now, have you ever heard of a Ridley Scott movie? And I think it was his first movie called The Duelists.
Yes, that is a great movie.
Oh yeah,
Holy
it is
cow,
really.
that's a good movie.
That is a good movie. I mean, you could when we were talking about hidden masterpieces, you could have made the argument that The Duelists was his actual hidden masterpiece. But oh, that's a great movie, and it's another one I got to be careful about because I haven't seen it in so long. Actually, a lot of the movies on these lists that I made a quick list, and I'm looking at the list, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, and I'm like, wait, what happened in that movie? But anyways, with the Duelist is I do know it's based on a Joseph Conrad story, so that's
Mhm.
do know that it's during the Napoleonic Wars, and it's got Harvey Keitel and David Carradine. Yeah,
Yep.
David Carradine. And I get my Carradines mixed up. Can't get your Carradines mixed up. That's bad. And it's this one guy who is basically duel happy and becomes fixated, sort of obsessed with the character played by David Carradine, and they keep interacting over the course of the years. And he Harvey Keitel's character just is fixated on dueling this guy and killing him. And that sounds kind of dull when you put it that way, but it's just psychologically, it's extraordinary. This sort of obsession, and I guess you could sort of compare it to Les Miserables, I suppose. There's definitely
Hmm.
some comparisons to be made, but yeah, there's some big comparisons to be made. But it doesn't matter. It stands on its own. And yeah, as far as movies that were made, it's a better movie. But you've seen it, you say?
Yes, I have.
Oh,
I
that's
have. I have
great.
a friend who I have a friend, and occasionally I go over there and watch movies with him. And he was like, "Oh, you've got to see this movie." And I was like, "Okay." But here's the other thing, when we talked about sneaky masterpieces, we talked about visual style. And boy, Ridley Scott's visual style is really on display in this movie.
Mm.
Again, you could see this movie and go, "Oh, yeah, that's a Ridley Scott movie,"
Hmm.
without knowing what it was. But yeah, it's great story. Um, it's really kind of, I would, if you wanted to take a page out of literary, I understand it's, this is a a Conrad story, but if you wanted to take another context, you could compare it a little bit to Moby Dick,
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
with
Sure.
with the
That
other guy
obsession.
being with the other guy being the white whale.
Hmm. Sure.
Yeah, so I think that's really kind of a deal there. I think that's a really good reference to that kind of movie. The Duelist is good. I like that movie a lot, and it's pretty gripping. It's pretty suspenseful in places, and I really like that.
Mhm.
So, well, the more we think about this, the more movies I'm coming up with. Let's talk about another horror movie. You and I don't talk enough about horror movies. I'd like to start talking about more of them.
It's true.
Uh, because I think that fits in our genre.
Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah.
So I want to talk about this guy that you might not know him as a science fiction director. He's a more conventional film director, but he's dipped his hand into science fiction and horror. He's the guy who directed the anti-nuclear version of Superman, Superman 4.
Oh
But
my
he's better
God.
known for much more important movies. He's
I hope
he's better
so.
known for a movie in 1965 with Michael Caine in it called The Ipcress File. It's a classic British spy thriller. But probably the movie that got the most critical attention from this guy was starred Diana Ross and Billy D. Williams, pre-Lando Calrissian.
Mhm.
Lady Sings the Blues, about uh, Billie Holiday.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No,
Well,
oh, go ahead.
yeah, that's a classic movie. That's a
Yeah.
great movie.
Mhm.
But he's the director. His name is Walter J. Lurie, and he directed a movie that I believe is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. It's a movie, I think it was Barbara Hershey's first movie from 1982 called The Entity.
Which I have never seen, and I should have, obviously, by now. That's one I ought to know. And
So The
yeah.
Entity is based on a true story. It's a woman in California who claimed multiple times that she had been sexually assaulted by ghosts.
Mm.
And this was such a famous case that UCLA sent some of their parapsychology guys out to investigate the house. And they actually concluded there was all kinds of parapsychological activity, paranormal activity going on in this house, like floating balls of light and objects jumping off the shelves. And uh, so it's based on this true story. And now this woman, of course, was a victim of all kinds of terrible trauma, and she was raising kids in a house that had been condemned. And so, of course, they now have considered that it's, mostly mental illness. But this movie is scary as hell because of its visual effects, state of the art visual effects in this movie. Um, and I will spoil it if I explain it, but there are a couple of scenes where people are, this never happened in real life, but in the movie they set up cameras to try and capture this event, because the woman shows up to the doctor bruised and beaten like she's been involved in sexual assault. And so these paranormal researchers set up cameras and motion detectors and to try and catch one of these things. And when they catch this sexual assault on screen, it's terrifying. I mean,
Eek.
it looks real. And uh, I would tell you, don't go see this movie if this kind of stuff, if this subject and seeing it reenacted even on a fictional level will bother you. Do not go see this movie because it is really frightening. And I knew what was going on with the visual effects before the movie came out. And boy, uh, you watch this movie and you know it's not real, but wow,
Jeez.
um,
Yeah, I can't deal with stuff like that anymore. I
it
think,
is
yeah, I
terrifying.
can't do it.
And if you can deal with this subject, it's a great movie. It is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot of scary movies. Let me just put it this way. So my senior year in high school, it was the fall of 1979, and a friend of mine invited me to go to this it was a church group and they did things on weekends. And it was kind of the popular church where everybody is gorgeous and everybody's, the captain of the football team and stuff. So we went and saw Night of the Living Dead, the original 1968
Sure.
masterpiece,
Hmm.
George Romero. And I, this is this is not a reaction to an uncomfortable situation. I thought that movie was funny as hell. Neither what I'm saying
That's
in a
funny.
very long roundabout way is horror movies to me are hilarious. The
Well,
vast
we'll have to talk
it's
about that in
really
another episode. But anyway,
it's really difficult. It's really difficult to find a horror movie that scares me. Alien in 1979 scared the hell out of me.
yeah.
But most of them I end up laughing maniacally because they're just so funny. So I'm watching Night of the Living Dead, and can you guess where I lost it and just started just laughing like a madman? What
Oh
scene
my
in that
God.
movie do you think
I mean, I started
where they
chuckling
go to
about,
get the
we're
truck?
coming to get you, Barbara.
Well, that's yeah. Well, that was great. What a perfect setup for that movie. But where they go to get the truck and it ends up blowing up and they're like juggling intestines and they're eating all the victim. That
Yeah.
I just lost. So these people are screaming and hugging each other, and I'm just going, "Ah," and they're looking at me like I'm an alien. So horror movies don't really scare me very much. I just am too aware of my surroundings and too analytical. And, you know, this is, I talk about this a lot. I talk about Roger Ebert's idiot plot. You know what that is?
No.
He Roger Ebert says if a movie suffers from the idiot plot, it's unwatchable. And he says most horror movies follow the idiot plot. And it's as follows. If one character stopped acting like an idiot, the movie's over. That is almost every horror movie out there. And it all starts with, well, maybe we should split up. But anyway,
Yeah,
these movies,
and that was so well lampooned in Cabin in the Woods,
oh my God, yes.
which is a genius
Yeah.
movie.
Well, let's pick up this old book and look at it. Um,
Hmm.
so
Well, and let's split up. And I don't know, it was
yeah.
really funny.
But in that really ridiculously roundabout point, horror movies don't scare me. This one scared me.
Hmm.
It scared me because it puts you in the frame of mind of this woman who's just being abused by somebody who's completely invisible, has no idea when it's coming, has no idea when it's going to last. I mean, how long it's going to last, has no idea when they're coming back. It's terrifying.
Hmm.
And most people have not seen this movie. Most people have never heard of it. It did not stay long in the theaters because people were really affected by it. So that's a really great movie. If you can stand that kind of theme, it will scare you.
Hmm.
Now, I think it's going to scare you more on the big screen, but a lot of horror movies are like that.
Well, I'm going to mention a movie, and again, I'm not going to talk much about it because some of these, well, again, some of these I haven't seen for a while, so I can't talk about them very well. And I just remember the impression they made on me. But some of them you really don't want to talk about, I think. And this one got some attention at the time, but not that much, and it's been forgotten. I think there may have been an Academy Award nomination for somebody. I might be crazy, but it comes from Sam Raimi, of all people. He went through a brief period there where he made some movies that weren't horror, like that baseball movie. What's
Yeah.
that baseball movie? For Love of the Game. That was it. But this movie, it's called A Simple Plan. I've you ever have you seen that?
Yes.
That is a great, great movie. It's got Bill Paxton, it's got Billy Bob Thornton, it's got Bridget Fonda, and look, Bill Paxton, he's much beloved in the genre world. Uh, ever since
Hey,
Aliens.
native of Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh, no kidding. Well,
Yeah, I live literal blocks away from where he went to high school.
oh, that's great.
And he went to high school with John Denver.
Oh, that's very interesting. Well, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. People are going to hate me for saying this, but you're all going to nod because you're like, yeah, yeah, I guess it's true. He was, may he rest in peace, a terrible actor. Absolutely terrible. But in A Simple Plan, he shines so much. Bridget Fonda, it's the best thing she's ever done. It's got Billy Bob Thornton, who, of course, is good in everything he does. So he's just as good as he is anywhere else in this movie. And it's about a plane crash where it's like millions of dollars in cash are in this crashed plane that these sort of regular people come across. And so they get
Billy
this
Bob
money.
Thornton's in that movie, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was mentioning he
Yeah.
does such a good job. And yeah, I mean, you know the kind of morality play I'm setting up just with that basic description. It's the kind of thing, we've seen before in books and film, but this one does that story so well. And it's hard to watch. It's so well, it's hard to watch. And it's amazing that this script was in development hell for years. I do
Yeah.
know it was based on a book, and I do know because I made this note that the screenplay was by the writer of the book. By the time it came all the way around, because Sam Raimi's going to be on your list to make a movie like this. No way. But he knocks it out of the park.
Yeah.
It is a hard movie to watch, but it's a hard movie to look away from, and it says some
Well,
rough things
and the
about
thing about that
people.
movie, uh, here's the thing about that movie. It's kind of my least favorite kind of movie. And I'll give you another example of that, and that's the Mosquito Coast with Harrison Ford in it.
Hmm.
Have you seen
Haven't seen
that?
that one in a while either. Yeah.
It's the kind of movie where everybody's coming to a bad end in that movie,
Hmm.
but you still have to watch it.
Yeah.
And everybody's coming to a bad end. That's the movie that kind of drives me crazy. The Mosquito Coast people will say, "Oh, let's go see that movie." I'm like, no, I know it ends. He goes completely bonkers and leaves his family stranded. I'm not watching that movie. I don't want to see that. um,
But
and I'll
yeah,
tell you, A Simple Plan reminds me a lot of No Country for Old Men,
you
or the other way
know,
around.
I'm going to
No Country
admit
for Old
this.
Men reminds me a lot of that movie.
I'm going to admit this on the air, and I wouldn't admit it to many people, but now I'm admitting it to everyone. I have not seen No Country for Old Men.
I didn't hear what you said.
I have not seen the movie.
Oh, that's okay. I know people who still haven't seen Star Wars and New Hope.
Yeah, but I'm supposed to know
I'll
about
make you.
movies. I don't know nearly as much about movies as I pretend to here. But there you go. It's a big one. It's an important one. I haven't seen it. I'm ashamed to say I'll watch it. I promise I'll watch it.
Well, let's make a video game tie-in. The guy who wrote the movie No Country for Old Men, he said that Javier Bardem is the movie equivalent of Evil Otto. Do you remember Evil Otto,
Yeah. A little
the
less,
character in the Berserker video
yeah,
game
that bounces around if you don't get out of the level
that
fast
you
enough.
cannot avoid? He will always kill you.
Right. Okay, I get it.
That's Javier Bardem. He said, I wanted to make the cinematic equivalent of Evil Otto. So here we go. We're back on genre.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
I've got
Yep.
another good one, and it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Oh,
And nobody saw this movie, but man, is this a great movie.
I bet I know which one you're going to say. Just
What is it?
because I bet you're gonna say because you said nobody saw it, so I want to say Devil.
No.
No, that was him, right?
Yes, it was, but it's
Okay,
The Visit.
The Visit. Yeah, see, there you go. That doesn't ring a bell.
It's the story of two kids who go to visit their grandparents,
Well,
and their mom has to drop them off because she's doing something that she needs to do. And so she drops them off at their grandparents. Mm. Well, we find out something isn't right here. And that's all I'm going to tell you about it.
yeah, with a movie by Shyamalan, much as I tend to disparage him, you don't want to talk too much about it. You want to just send people
No,
to
you
see
really
it. I
don't, and
think you're
especially
right.
this one because it does not seem like it's a horror movie, but it's a horror movie. It's Catherine Hahn is the only name you'll know in it.
Oh, cool. She's great.
And she is so good in this movie. I love Catherine Hahn. I loved her before her big breakout movie, which was Step Brothers. Uh,
Hmm.
she is so good in this movie. She is the harried single mom that has no time to do anything and has to trust her all kinds of strange people and situations with her kids, and she has no choice. And she's so good. And she's really not in the movie very long. It's mostly about the kids visiting their grandparents. But man, is it good. If you have an afternoon and you want to see a movie that seems like it's not a horror movie, but really is a big horror movie. And you have to have some kind of memory what it was like to be a kid and left with somebody that you may or may not know. But even if you don't have that experience, and a lot of people our age don't have that experience, you can still get this. It is so good. It's one of my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movies, and nobody saw it. It was in the theater for like 10 days. But man, is it good, and it's one of his best movies.
Well, I'm not a big fan, so I would say that that's not saying a whole lot, but I'll definitely check it out because I trust you. So it
Oh,
better be good.
you would like this movie. It's good. It's really good. And the
Well,
last 10 minutes are just frenetic.
well, that's what
So
you
it's a
watch
good
a
movie.
Shyamalan movie for is the last 10 minutes, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, except for me, what is the one I saw recently? It's terrible. Is I saw two of them recently, and one of them was really great. I loved it. The other was just awful. The awful one was The Watchers.
I have not seen it.
It came out a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
But the one I recently saw that I really, really like is A Knock at the Cabin Door.
Yeah, people really like that. I need to check that out. I mean,
Well, you couldn't have made that movie without Dave Bautista.
yeah,
And let me just tell you, I have to agree with Denis Villeneuve. Dave Bautista is a damn fine actor.
you find the right place for him. There's nobody like him, for sure.
Well, in this movie, you think he's going to play a character like um, Drax, big and macho and kind of stupid and kill things first. Oh, no, 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 no. Shyamalan really restrains him in this movie. It's great. I'm not going to say that he's the best WWE, the best actor who used to be in WWE. I'm going to say he's a great actor, period.
Oh, wow. High praise. Wow. Well, maybe I'll have to.
And I think he needs a good, strong director who notices that in him and knows how to get a good performance out of him. But man, he's got a good future coming. He's really good.
Well, you may make me break my boycott
Okay, you
of
got
M.
one or
Night
two more?
Shyamalan.
I got
I
one
I
left.
do, but I just want to say real quick that I may break my my uh, uh, my issues with M. Night Shyamalan. I've sworn off his movies ever since he just destroyed Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is
Oh yeah.
such a good TV series. Folks like me were so excited to see a version coming on to live action, and oh my God, it's like he went out of his way to screw it up. Well, anyways, other movies, yeah, movies gems by well-known actors.
I've got a
There's
couple more.
or well-known directors. I got a couple I'd like to mention too. So why don't I just we'll just go through and toss them out. I'm going to mention
Sure.
Kubrick. Going for Kubrick here. Um,
Okay.
because he always seems to come up, right? Uh, an early
Yeah.
one, Paths of Glory, which I bet you've seen. Have you seen
One of the
Paths of
best
Glory?
anti-war movies ever made.
It is a great anti-war movie, and Kirk Douglas is, I'm not going to say he's fantastic because I don't think Kirk Douglas was that good, but he's good enough. Let's put
Oh
it
yeah.
that way. And it's a story of it's French soldiers, and they're ordered to go on a suicidal attack, and they refuse, and they're brought
Mhm.
up on trial for cowardice. And
Yeah, for mutiny. Yeah.
from yeah, and it's great. I don't know. I mean, you nailed it when you said it's a great anti-war movie. It's one of the best anti-war movies I think ever
It's right up
made.
there with All Quiet on the Western Front. It
Yeah.
is such a great anti-war movie. And he's making this movie in 1962 in the middle of the Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie, nobody gets away without being roasted. The soldiers don't get away without being roasted. Their superiors don't get away without being roasted. Everybody gets fried in this movie. And here's the best part about this. Uh, you know, I think it's easiest to see Kubrick's visual style, especially when you talk about lighting in his color movies.
Mm-hmm.
But it's here. His strong, glaring light and lots of shadows. It shows up in this movie in a big way. Like I said, even with this old black and white movie, if you saw that and you had seen one other Kubrick movie, you could say, "Yeah, that's Stanley Kubrick."
Yeah. Oh God, I didn't mention. Right. Okay. It takes place during World War One. I don't think
Yes,
I don't think I said that. That's kind of important.
yeah, yeah. You did. You said that.
Oh, I did. Okay.
Yeah, you said it takes place in a suicidal attack in World War One. At least I think you did. You've been cutting out a little bit, so I might have missed it.
Yeah. Yeah. I have
Okay, I got
bad
one.
luck with mics. Yeah, go ahead.
We're going back to Luc Besson.
Oh,
So
who
I
we
saw
talked
this
about
movie
last
on an
time.
airplane. Yeah, Luc Besson, director of The Professional and The Fifth Element, and a French movie called Subway, which is a good movie, but I don't think it's his best movie that you don't know of. I saw this movie on an airplane from Houston to Paris, France, in 1988, and it's called The Big Blue.
No, never heard of it.
It's a movie that has Rosanna Arquette in it and Jean Reno, and I cannot think of the other male lead. It's a story of two free divers. Do you know who free diving is?
Yeah, just diving without
Free
gear,
diving
right? Yeah.
is the athletic, or it's the competition where people see who can go down the farthest in the
Right.
ocean on one breath.
Sure. Yeah.
And it is an extremely dangerous sport. But this movie is so calm and serene and quiet. It is just soothing until you see the last scene. It's not a horror movie. It's really a love story, but it's not just a love story between two men and a woman. Like it fits in that kind of classic love triangle movie, like Jules et Jim, which is a classic French love triangle movie. But it's about these free divers who are mostly competing against each other to see who can set the world record for going the deepest on a single breath. And it's got Besson's visual style. It's a very lean story. It has a completely different kind of production value than you see in these big, flashy action films. It's very quiet and it's very calm. And it's one of the best movies I've ever seen. He sets a tone for this movie. And this movie's a lot like espionage in that there's not a lot going on of it in 90% of the movie, but there's 10% of it, which is just terrifying. But you will love this movie. It's a little bit kind of sappy in the love story part of it,
Mm-hmm.
but in the central theme, the central idea of this movie is this really intense competition between two people who do something that no one else on the planet can do, or very few other people can do. I love this movie. It's really terrific. I saw it on an overnight flight, like I said, so it was the kind of movie you wanted to watch that didn't get you too worked up,
Mhm.
and it's very calm and has a very really interesting. It's just a great movie. I can't say enough about it. Rosanna Arquette is in it. She and Jean Reno are the only people you're probably going to know. But
Mhm.
then did some reading and I found out something interesting. His dad was a free diver. Luc Besson's dad was a free diver,
So he comes
and
about
so
the
they traveled
inspiration
all
in
over the
this one.
world. They traveled all over the world uh, with their parents to do competitions.
Mm.
And so that's why he's so well traveled and why he has all these different influences, is because he spent a long time with his dad, who was a competitive freediver. So you can tell this movie is very close to his personal experience, and it
Mhm.
shows up in the film. And I think it's really a great movie that nobody knows about.
Well, I'll check it out. Another one on my list to check out. There you go. You're giving me some stuff. You're giving me some
You got
homework
another
here.
one?
Yeah, I just looked on my list and I had three more, but none of them are particularly hidden. They're just kind of hidden if you don't pay enough attention.
Yeah.
So I'll just real quick shout out a couple, but then I'll only talk about one. I'll just throw out a shout
Okay.
out to the Coens with Sam Raimi, Hudsucker Proxy. Big fun movie. Check it
Uh-huh.
out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, Terry Gilliam, The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. Big fun.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Worth seeing. It's a blast. But I'm going to land on John Carpenter, who's done, a million things. But one that
Yeah.
doesn't get nearly as much attention as it should is In the Mouth of Madness. It's
Oh man. I think
Yeah,
that's one of the best Lovecraft movies ever made.
it is a Lovecraft movie that's not a Lovecraft movie. It's like a love letter to Lovecraft. And
Yeah.
it's terrific. I mean, the name is like At the Mountains of Madness, it's so Lovecraft, but ah, I don't know what to say about it now. I guess maybe we've spoken too much today. I'm out of words. But say it's not that obscure, but if you're not a fan of the guy or you're not a fan of the genre, you probably aren't aware of it, especially since by now it's kind of old. It's from the early 90s. But
Yeah.
it almost also makes you think a little of Stephen King because the central character is a writer, is an author who gets involved in all kinds of crazy supernatural stuff. So that might even be a little nod to him in there. But the town, you got to love the name of the town that it takes place in that he goes to. It's called Hobbs End. Would you go to a town called Hobbs End? Oh my God. And if you're listening and you don't know why, go look it up. Just look up Hob, just Hob. See what comes up. But anyways, great movie. I just wanted to give it a shout out. No need to go into any more detail than that, other than to say it's got the great Sam Neill, and that makes it worth it right there.
Yep. A guy who was born with a 85-year-old man's voice when he was 19. All right. Let's talk about my last movie. It's kind of an obscure movie. I saw it on cable TV in the early 80s. This guy has a massive, massive body of work. He's done all kinds of movies from 48 Hours with Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte to Dick Tracy with Warren Beatty and Madonna to he's done
These are
so
not great
much
movies
stuff.
you're naming.
No, well, The Warriors.
Oh, The
There's a
Warriors.
great movie.
Okay.
The same guy directed The Warriors. His name is
Warriors,
Walter Hill.
come out and play.
His name is Walter Hill.
Hmm.
In 1980, he did a movie called The Long Riders.
I've heard of that.
It's a it's a Western,
Hmm.
and it's very much in the uh, tone of a Sam Peckinpah movie.
Hmm. I've definitely heard of this
It
movie. There's no question.
it's
But
about the Cole Younger gang.
who I'm not familiar with.
And the Cole Younger gang they terrorize the Midwest, uh, robbing banks and trains.
Mm.
Jesse James is part of the Cole Younger gang.
Okay.
It's Jesse James and Cole Younger. And
Ah.
it's a bit like the movie The Last Picture Show, which by the way is my most favorite movie of all time.
Oh, no kidding.
In
It's a great movie.
in that you have in that you have like all these really famous actors who aren't that famous until after this movie.
Hmm.
So
Oh,
we
I'm
know
looking
Dennis,
at yeah, I'm looking at the cast right now. Look at this cast. Cool.
Christopher Guest,
Yeah.
you know, David St. Hubbins from Spinal Tap
Huh.
and husband of Jamie Lee Curtis. Nobody heard of him in 1980, but Randy Quaid and Dennis Quaid. Well, Randy Quaid is somebody in common with The Last Picture Show. He's also in The Last Picture Show.
Hmm.
David Carradine and Keith Carradine and Robert Carradine, all the Carradine brothers, James and
Hmm.
Stacy Keach. This is a great old time Hollywood Western, and really it's one of the last ones.
There's a
It's about
Nicholas
a bank
Guest.
robbery that takes place in Northfield, Minnesota, and the Pinkertons have been warned, and everything goes wrong. And well, we won't talk about the ending, but it is great. It is so good. And I'm not a big Western fan, but I saw this movie one night, late at night, watching TV at Kentucky Hall, and oh, it's so good. It is great. Ry Cooder does the soundtrack.
That's cool.
So it's really great. And the great thing about this is casting. Of course, the Jesse James and the younger brothers, they were all brothers. And so they hired four sets of brothers to play four sets of brothers in the gang.
Well, I was looking at
And so it's
the brothers set there. There's a Guest brother in there, Nicholas
yeah,
Guest,
yep.
who
Christopher
I'm
Guest
not
and Nicholas Guest. Yep.
yeah, who I'm not familiar with. So that's an interesting way to go about it.
Yeah, and it's really good. It is an old time shoot 'em up, uh, a modern version on that kind of shoot at OK Corral movie.
Hmm.
It's very violent, so if you're bothered by that stuff, don't watch it.
Nothing wrong with
And
some good
then,
violence every now and then.
but it's terrific. It is a very it's like a 70s update of a 60s classic Western. And if you haven't seen it, you need to. I don't know if you'll be able to find it. That's going to be the hard part.
Hmm. I'll go looking. You can find anything now on YouTube is where you can find everything. So if you can't find it on one
Yeah,
of
you
the
might be able
streaming
to find it on
services.
YouTube.
Hmm.
You might be able to find it on, oh, there's one of them. I can't remember the streaming service. It's free, but it has commercials and they have a bunch of old movies on it. Is it
Like Hulu or
Tubi?
something. Tubi's fine. Yeah.
No, it's one of the more obscure ones.
Hmm.
Tubi
Or
or
not to be.
I can't think. I can't think of the names of these things, but I won't watch them because I hate commercials. I hate them. So, but no, it was really good, and it was entered into the 1980 Cannes Film Festival. It's terrific. It's a great movie. And I'm not a huge fan of westerns, although I will tell you one of my favorite westerns of all time is Rio Bravo.
Oh, that's a good one. Hmm.
Well, there's a connection between Rio Bravo and Saving Private Ryan.
No, I barely remember Rio Bravo, so I couldn't tell you.
Well, there's a scene in Rio Bravo where they're throwing dynamite in a shootout.
Hmm.
They're lighting sticks of dynamite, throwing them at them.
Hmm.
And that's I saw Spielberg talk about this. That's a direct. There's a scene in Saving Private Ryan where they're taking mortar shells and bang them on the ground to set off the primer, and then throwing them at the tanks. He said that's a direct homage to Rio Bravo.
No, cool. That's cool.
And for if you're not old like us, you should go out and see Rio Bravo immediately.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
classic Western with John Wayne, uh, Dean Martin, and uh, oh, heartthrob singer on the Osbournes. Uh,
Throb
Bloody
singers.
hell, Ricky. God, what
Um,
is his name?
oh, I think I know who you mean. Oh shoot, but I don't know.
Hold
Um,
on, we're gonna get it here. Hang on.
yeah,
It's Ricky Nelson
Ricky Nelson.
and Angie Dickinson.
Oh,
It's a great movie, 1959, directed by the classic uh, Western director Howard Hawks.
You know, it's funny. I was going to mention on our last episode where we talked about alternate masterpieces. I almost wanted to bring up John Ford and say that his masterpiece was actually Fort Apache. So I want some retroactive credit for almost bringing up a Western last time.
Yeah, well, that's one I'm going to totally disagree with you on. His masterpiece is She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, damn it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Fort Apache, man.
I mean, for
Get
God's
with it.
sake, they rip off a scene directly from that movie, She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, in Firefly, for God's sake, or Serenity, I think it is.
Well, despite himself in Fort Apache, he creates this anti-colonialist, even arguably anti-war movie that's hard to believe he made it. So I think he must have made it by accident, but it's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's
I don't
brilliant.
know. He's pretty good at telling a story, and that that guy, his first and foremost objective in any movie is telling a good story. A lot of those guys had terrible politics. John Wayne was a horrible person,
Oh God, he was a
but
horrible
man, did
person.
he know
Good
did he
Lord.
did he know how to play a role?
Oh man. All right. Well, we should probably bail. We've been talking the ears of the public off for a while here. And we've covered a lot of good movies. This is the kind of topic, it's not like last time. This is a topic where it didn't piss anybody off. You know? It's just
Yeah.
here's some good movies you haven't heard of, go see them.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Well, everybody, we'll see you a couple weeks from now, and maybe we will get into talking some horror finally.
All right, guys, thank you very much. We'll see you next time, or I guess you'll hear us next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Our theme music is by Christopher Piatek.